this passage we're going to look at is a difficult passage because of the subject. The subject is about a theory called standpoint theory. The genre is sociology. Whenever you get a passage which is on sociology, any humanities related to any subject of humanities, it is a little difficult because unlike a passage on biology, there would be a lot of contradictions. The sentences would be long-winded. Every time somebody writes a sentence about something, there are a lot of qualifications. Given this, I'm saying it may be possible, but it is also possible. So, because social scientists don't have too much physical evidence, unlike physical scientists, so they give their own. The sentences are always long drawn out. There is an analysis involved, and when they come to a conclusion, they have to give a lot of supporting ideas and arguments. Therefore, these passages are often a little difficult to read and of at least moderate level difficulty when you answer the questions. Having said that, you've already tackled the first passage. This was the second passage in the set in the mock. Then this is doable because when you do the first set, the first passage is easy. It's easier to come to the second passage and do it because you've already warmed up. All right? Okay. If we look at the summary of the passage quickly, let's do it. Talks about the work of Dr. Smith, who was known for her contribution to what is called the standpoint theory. She says most conventional sociology has been written, developed, the view of the world has been written from the male experience or the male standpoint. All right. As women, she says, we've been living in an intellectual, cultural, and political world whose making has been almost entirely excluded, whose role in the making of the world is almost entirely excluded. The view of the world, the political, intellectual, cultural world is seen from the male standpoint, not from a woman's standpoint. All right. So she says, then the next paragraph says that sociology should not just be a lens for viewing. It should also be a tool for changing, ordering society, organizing it on better principles. And she says that the present situation is such that everything is taken from a male viewpoint. The society has been ordered by men. The rules, sociology is basically viewed from a dominant viewpoint of the male. So she says we should change, reverse the focus of sociology. What is the suggestion she is giving? How do you reverse the focus of sociology? Rather than making people, in particular women and people of marginalized sections, she gives example people of color, gay men and lesbians, anyone on the margin, anyone who doesn't form the majority, and or men. She says instead of making them the objects of study, they should be the subject. This is the most important line or the point made by the author. And what does she mean by that? She says that sociologists should be focusing on the world around them as seen and experienced by these people, that is women and marginalized section. They should see the world as viewed by women, as viewed by marginalized section, rather than always looking at it or only looking at it from the male standpoint. Okay, therefore she criticized the forms of investigation where, only the viewpoint of men were taken into account. Then, of course, they've given examples of Smith as herself being a single mother and how she experienced, how she was judged, and there were certain presumptions about her in society. So what did she say? She says that this treating women, marginalized section as a subject should be a tool used by conventionals, by anybody, instead of using the conventional dominant forms of inquiry used by sociology. What is the dominant form of inquiry used by sociology? The male viewpoint as defined by men. Okay, it should be universal. It should be, and women should be subjects rather than objects of study. Clear? Which of the following, if true, would be an accurate inference from the passage? So we know we have to look for one sentence which is definitely true based on what's given in the passage. Dr. Smith pioneered the standpoint theory approach to sociological investigations. If you remember the passage, did it say pioneered? Now this is where this question becomes hard, because it said contributing to a theory and pioneering a theory are two different things. Now, if you're not careful, you say, who's going to go back to the passage so many times and read? I'm running out of time. I should do my next passage. Then this is a question which you shouldn't attempt, because this looks correct. This one, according to Dr. Smith, sociology should not simply study societies but also instruct it. She said it should also order it. It's not just a view for looking at society. It's also a way of ordering it, structuring it, organizing it. So if you remember that, then this is correct. Therefore, go back to your theory that any question that just looks difficult is not necessarily difficult. Read all the options before you judge an answer and then move on. If you see this, you don't even actually have to see C and D, because you remember the paragraph where the author has said not just a tool for viewing society but also a method to organize it, rule it, which at present is being done from a male viewpoint, right? Okay, the standpoint theory was superseded by the institutional ethnography approach. No, that's not correct. Dr. Smith tried to change the male-centric approach. She tried to change, but she does not advocate exclusively a woman-centric approach in strict. She said the subject-object, that was her thing. It was not more male, female only. She was looking at other marginalized sections as well. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Alright, I hope you got that. Reading the passage and getting the main point would help you answer a lot of things. In this passage, it was subject, object, standpoint theory, because she was saying sociology is only viewed from the standpoint of males. Ethnography, institutional ethnography, everybody follows the same method. Academia, institutions, everybody follows the same method, she said. That approach that is there in sociology now. Alright.